Hi, everybody. We're back. It's been a long hiatus for that little thing we like to call CitizenCon. Welcome to Star Citizen Live. What did I call this show? CitizenCon 2953, follow-up part 1, the UI and resource management people. We're probably going to have to shorten that for the thumbnail. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour out of the end of our week and we chat with the wonderful developers who make our two games, Star Citizen and Squadron 42, possible. We've been offline for the last roughly 6 or 7 weeks. I don't know. Nobody ever looked at Jared and said that guy knows how to read a calendar. To prepare for our big 2-day event, CitizenCon, out in Los Angeles. You just saw our behind the... You might have seen our behind the... Ooh, I got a text message. Hold on. Domino's is offering 25% off garlic sticks. Where was I? I don't remember where I was, but it's muted now. We're back, everybody. Our 2-day event in Los Angeles. You might have seen yesterday's behind-the-scenes episode of Inside Star Citizen, giving a look at some of the things that went into putting that together, at least in the last days leading up to it. On this show today, and for the next several weeks, actually, we are going to be doing a series of presentation follow-ups with members of the teams who gave their presentations at CitizenCon. Up first this week is members from our esteemed user interface team, UI team. Do you guys have a team? It's like the Rad Cobras or something. Do you guys have a team name? Anyway, Zane, Emily, Bone, and Simon. How you doing, everybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Good.
So answer that first question. Is it just the UI team, or do you guys have like cool...
We're actually 3 different teams.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, walk me through that.
Zane and I are on the UI tech team.
Okay.
And
So I'm on the Squadron 42 UI art and design team for now.
Emily?
The Squadron 42 feature team.
Okay. Simon, for now, you hang dangling over.
I think things are very fluid all the time. So
Yes.
who knows?
Boy, howdy are they. Folks have, I think folks have seen through the messaging of CitizenCon and through some stuff they may have seen through the monthly report and everything. Yes, we are rearranging some development resources at the moment, moving a lot of folks back over onto the Precision Universe now that Squadron 42 is feature complete. So we're excited. That was a big part of the CitizenCon messaging, was looking at all of these things that have been done or created for Squadron 42 and are now about to begin making their journey to the Precision Universe over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, depending on what it is and how well things go. You 4 constituted our Navigating the Universe presentation at CitizenCon. We've collected some questions from the community, and we're going to jump into those for a few minutes. But because this is really the first time we've had to chat since we got back, how was your experience? Did you enjoy CitizenCon this year? Did you run into any crazy stalkers? Tell me what it was like from your perspective, because I was just running around like a chicken with their head cut off the whole time.
I thought it was really cool because it's the first CitizenCon I've actually been to in real life. So presentation we did was a bit scary, but after that, getting to meet the backers and just see the show and everything, it was really nice because when you sat at your computer all the time just making new stuff and thinking, oh, it's full of bugs, or we've got to fix, or we've got to get it done on time, you don't really see people that appreciate the end result. So that was really cool.
Anyone else?
Yeah, superb. I loved it. It's super exciting. And it's weirdly, I get to see loads of bits. It's like a really extravagant show and tell for us as well. You get to see bits of the game that from other teams that I've not seen. So I'd not seen the Hold the Line video. I deliberately held it back, and then when I watched it, I was quite emotional. Sat at the back of the auditorium. It was really, really exciting. So weirdly, I enjoyed it as a participant as much as being involved in the actual show as well.
I think it was really cool just to be able to show off what we've been working on, and I'm pretty proud of that, and I was just really excited to show that map feature. Mm-hmm. I've actually lost quite a bit of sleep on the lead up to CitizenCon. So I actually wasn't really feeling too well at the actual event, but I was pretty. I think adrenaline was taking care of that anyway.
Yeah, adrenaline tends to carry us through. Like I think there's a number of people who went crashing down right afterwards, me included. Emily, what was your CitizenCon like
Yeah,
besides
it was-
bossing Boner in?
Yeah, I enjoyed doing that. Yeah, it was really cool. Like I've never really done anything at that sort of scale before, and it was just really nice to finally show off the star map after I've been working on it for quite some time. So it's
You
yeah.
know,
it
the
was just-
star map, the interior map, the Moby glass. It's just, it's. I mean, we've talked about this on and off over the years. You know, I've been doing this for about a decade now. You know, user interface is one of the only aspects of game development that touch every single other element. There's nothing that goes into either one of these games that doesn't have to go through you in some way, shape, or form. That you don't present some aspect of it, make some aspect of it usable, tangible, and stuff like this. So it can, as Zane said, it can lead to some long nights and some long hours and whatnot. But it was super exciting to me to finally be able to pull the curtain back, because we've been waiting to see so much of this stuff. And so as we jump into the questions, one of the first questions was, we don't usually do a one question, but I saw that you had these on there. Does all of the stuff have to wait till 4.0, or will some of the stuff that you showcased come in before the magic and fabled 4.0?
Well, the easiest answer to that question is just wait and see. But no, we're hoping to bring things in a bit at a time, so it won't be like a big lump of like, here's all the new features. So like when they're ready, they're going in, and they're going to be as ready as soon as possible. So we're all doing our best to get them actually from like being showcaseable to being production ready, so release status. So which is still quite a jump, but we're doing our best.
Well, I imagine most of it is just as simple as take the step you did for Squadron, check the make multiplayer box, and just work in Star Citizen, right?
No. In a word. Where'd you start?
I got a snort from Torsten in my ear.
I mean, just integrating the codes, a multi-day, multi-week problem, and then there's additional features for, let's say, the visor and the Moby glass, which are obviously maybe not in Squadron, that are going to be in the PU, and then there's obviously different maps and different layouts, and also. Yeah. People can go anywhere and do anything, and like the combinations of stuff that people can do when they're playing the game all need to be tested and go through that.
Skydancer in the chat said that stuff looked pretty far along, and it is. It's as far along as we showed it at CitizenCon. But again, that was for the single player environment, and integrating it into the multiplayer environment will take the work of not just your team, but multiple QA teams and multiple other Precision Universe teams. You got to hook it into the mission system. You got to hook it into the the overall location system and stuff like this. So yeah, server meshing. And the replication layer, all things that aren't necessarily a part of the Squadron development, and you now need to take account for. That's not to scare anybody away and be like, you're not going to see this stuff in a year and whatnot, because I can already see the chat. It's just we want to be very forthcoming that this isn't stuff that's going to show up tomorrow, but it's not necessarily stuff that needs to wait until 4.0. You guys will tackle the work, and as the work is completed and ready and go, it'll go into the PU.
Yeah, we're not holding all of that we showed at CitizenCon back for the 4.0 release. When it's ready, it's ready.
When it's ready, it'll go in.
Mm-hmm. As team leads are like planning that right now. I was talking to Jens earlier about, can we do this here and can that go there? So yeah, we're on the case as well. We're figuring out how soon we can get stuff.
And some of the things are out of this group's control as well. So like the interior map, you think, well, we showed the Carrack, but we've got a few other ships that we'll need to ensure look great
Speaking of the Carrack, let's jump into some of these questions we collected from the community. This question says, what is the role of the cartography station holosphere in the 600i or Carrack? What's the role of it if you can do everything from your mobi-glass? Will it sync with your mobi-glass? Does it do something different than the mobi-glass? What can you tell us?
So I think the main thing is like as we mentioned in the hold the line view, we're trying to really emphasize the physical interactions with the world, and that makes the experience a lot more immersive and engaging. Because obviously, like if you can do everything from the mobi-glass, right? Like how compelling is that? Like it's obviously like it's not far-fetched to imagine in the future like we'll might be able to control everything with like AI and brain chips and stuff, but like doesn't really make for a compelling gameplay. So, and also with the like, I think like the hologlobes, like the big thing about it is like there should be like certain benefits to using something that's like specially geared towards the ship they're using. Like for instance, like networking, like if you have like a lot of crew members that you're working with, like I think it would be like really nice to be able to like amalgamate the data so that like what you're showing on like one display, like one hologlobe.
Everybody's standing around the hologram.
So it's like amalgamating their like individual data into like one sort of display, and then they can make like strategic planning and stuff around that. And then like the same goes for like the cartography deck or anything. Like I feel like also what I kind of want to do as something like really cool is to have like a Prometheus style terrain, like a cross section of the terrain on the holotable on a hologlobe, so that like when you're like scanning and like you're scanning for like resource deposits and things like that, like it's something that the ship like specifically does. And then obviously I think that information would then be able to like be saved to your mobi-glass, because I think your mobi-glass really is kind of like about displaying the data that you've acquired over time through the use of various equipment, and then like the other displays are kind of like about actually gathering that data.
This next question just says galaxy view. I guess will we add that?
Yes.
Oh, so yes, well, literally just as galaxy view here. So
somebody was asking like, so we can see the solar system, we can see the interior map. What about like
pulling all the way out to
Yeah.
the multi-star system? All right.
Yeah, so the plan is we definitely want to be able to kind of pull back even further. So if people have seen the star map on the website, we're thinking of something similar to that. So you can see all the different systems that will be in the game eventually. Probably we can only like actually go to the two that we're working on at the moment, but we do want to have that big high level view, so you can see it all in context.
I also like the idea of being able to like actually go through the jump points as well. So if we could do that, that would be really cool.
Oh, like in the map, actually, just
Yeah.
fancy.
Yeah, awesome.
Here's a perennial question. Jeez, I think we've seen this question since 2015, so the birth of the PU. Can we organize map markers and pins using folders or tags?
I think you should be able to. I think we should offer like various ways of actually sorting through that data. So I think like one of the ways is, I think that would be good is to be able to have like user-generated folders, so that you can organize your own data and how you see fit, but also be able to organize it by like hierarchical locations. So like Stanton system, and then planet, moon, and be able to kind of like filter your markers that way. And possibly also like tagging the markers, so you can kind of like tag them individually, and then that will kind of go into like the sharing of it, because you might want to only share like a subset, right? So you need to kind of have like good ways of filtering by like subsets of.
And then being able to add notes to the map markers, titles, stuff like that, full labeling things.
Yeah, I mean, we already showed like the titling. I think we should be able to have that flexibility, because otherwise we're kind of like you're kind of like, you don't want to be like stuck in a box, and it's just like so yeah, we'll look at that for sure.
We're going to start drilling down into it. One thing that one suggestion that we probably will look into. We're not saying we're definitely going to do it, but we can potentially get data from the surroundings as well. So if you've got a mining deposit, we could potentially kind of automatically say what's in that deposit on your little marker. So things like that we've got potential to do one day.
You just went right into the next question. Will the star map show details about planets, population, climate, available resources, factions, stuff like that? How far do we take the star map before it just becomes a galactopedia?
It could go anywhere, really. I mean, like, where it is now, where we're looking at it for now, it's probably going to be pretty similar to the function. Well, the core functionality will be kind of similar to what's in the current Star Citizen, just with this much better interface. But in future, like if you've seen Google Maps, that's changed over the past 10 or 15 years, and it's constantly changing. We could do the same kind of thing with a star map if we wanted to. But I think,
I mean, our priority is to make it nice and playable first,
Yeah.
like really usable. We understand that maybe the current implementation is not so usable, so you know, there's a priority of making that usable, and then we can look at all these additional features. We've got a feature list as long as you're on it, or look like, oh, that looks cool, we could definitely do that.
Yeah.
We should put that in and that. But I think knowing things, showing things that you know about on the map is sort of like really important. Like when you learn things about a planet or a location, then this could be integrated into your map. So like pinning stuff, or like finding out about, I don't know, it's an icy moon with this kind of population, and whether it's safe or not, is a lot of that sort of based on your knowledge about what you've learned about the universe whilst you're exploring around it.
Well, there's that, and then there's, you know, things like the Galactopedia, which, you know, it exists, you know, outside the game right now, but you know, eventually we'll begin to incorporate into the universe, and I imagine there's a lot of opportunities to plug into that and pull information from that. You know, just easy cross-reference through tags. You know, if I'm looking at, you know, microtech, you know, oh well, what other information? There's the information that I've gathered, or you've gathered, or members of our team have gathered, but then what does the universe already know? And pull that into.
What's the governing bodies of the, you know, find me a safe place to go and land and refuel and things like that.
So I would say it probably seems more like a Galactopedia feature as a star map feature, and then just maybe the star map can tap into that in places once the Galactopedia comes online. Will the map show multi-stop quantum travel routes?
well, so for now, it'll probably do very similar to the current implementation. So you can kind of plot multiple stops on the way, but for now we don't want to do like a full, I don't know, you know, like if you want any sat nav on your phone, we don't want to go into that much detail where it's kind of doing everything for you. You can choose multiple routes, but I think in future, those kind of features do make people's lives more easier. So yeah, I think it's the kind of thing we probably look into.
I don't want to be flying through some really dangerous zone. I won't be able to avoid it. But it sounds a good idea.
Yeah, I think there's big things like, I don't know, you want to be able to know where you need to stop for fuel and how far you can actually reach with your current ship and that kind of thing. We can probably improve the way that's dealt with in future as well.
The next question in the chat here, they're talking about whether your own ships can appear in the star map. You know, some folks, I don't want to name names, but they basically leave ships all over the Precision universe. It's just wrecks, hulks, some still fully intact. They just leave it and go to another one. What are our options or plans to showing, you know, our own detritus amongst the star map?
We definitely will have the ability technically to do it. This is sort of like a design decision about what you can track and what you can, like we always have a thing for tracking with the AR markers anyway, so there's no reason why anything that's on the AR would also be integrated into the mapping system to show exactly where you left it floating in some moon somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, for now, you'll definitely be able to see where your current ship is. Like if you just got out of your ship and wandering around, you'll be able to see that on there. I think we're going to, for ships that are, say you've got it locked up on a space station, for example, so it's not actually in the game world, that'll probably, for now, live in your inventory and the other menus. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
definitely the stuff flying around is much more likely the ships that are associated with you.
Yeah. One thing we never really showed the radar very much at CitizenCon, mainly just because it didn't really fit with the flow of everything, but we've kind of improved the radar generally, and you can zoom into that and see it full screen the same way you can with the star map and so on. So there's the kind of things that you would see as contacts on your radar. You'll also be able to see that in the big version too.
Yeah, that's kind of like another use case for like a ship hologlobe is actually like the radar, and you're seeing like all the ships and possibly like the whole fleet.
Yeah.
And
Planning a battle.
Yeah, it'd be so cool for multi-crew gameplay if you're stood around and you can see your friends flying around you and
ordering around.
Yeah.
So it's very much like a pervasive
Great.
UI throughout the game. Like serves a lot of many purposes. You know.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Simon, because I was literally just talking about how, because let's be real, we dumped about 71 episodes of ISC in 2 days. And that's not an exaggeration. When you break down the number of topics and the number of minutes you spent on them, we did 71 episodes of ISC in 2 days. I know because I was there helping you put them together and exhausted. So part of the challenge for this quarter and into next quarter is figuring out what the heck we're going to talk about, what's left to talk about. But one of the things we're discussing is we didn't really get to cover radar and scanning a whole lot of stuff. So I was literally going to break that to you afterward the show, but I'll just do it now. We're coming.
Cool.
Coming
yeah, it'd be nice to show that stuff, yeah, because we know what it does, but we're not told anyone else yet.
We're coming sooner than you might think. So the star map does take into account the stuff from the new radar and the new scanning stuff. Really cool.
Yeah, one thing, it's like you kind of got different views. So if you're looking at the actual star map view, that's like the camera's really far away from where the actual player is. So if it was real life, you wouldn't be able to see that thing from that far away. So you do have to kind of zoom into the radar view to see, say, ships flying around and so on. But I think probably we'll have friends on the big version of the map as well.
I don't know exclusively how UI this is in that ship team, but will everyone, including non-team members, be able to see doors opening on a ship so that they can track players?
Well, I checked with Rich Tyro about this just now, and so yes, at the moment that's the way it's going to work. So
I think technically it'd be harder not to. Thinking about it, thinking it through, it'd be really hard to
exclude that data.
Yeah, exclude that data. Like if you know about the ship, you know about the inner workings. You might not necessarily know who's walking through it at any time, but you might go, that door seems to have opened and closed.
Right.
So it does have gameplay implications. So I know it might make it trickier for some people, but also people who do want to snoop on that stuff, it's going to be a fun bit of gameplay as well, I think.
Yeah. So a couple layers to that. One is, whether you can see people working in your ships. Another one, whether you can identify them. If they've done something to hide their presence, maybe you don't see them, but you'd still see your own doors, opening and closing in your ship. So yeah, a couple different layers.
So the markers on the interior map are what you detect on the radar. So if you can detect people, like we saw the ping stuff in the demo that we did, then they will also appear on the interior map. But as you were saying, if they've got some mechanism of hiding themselves, then maybe they won't be so clear on the interior map as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have like the ability to hide and show different render layers. So like we could hide all doors if that's some gameplay requirement, or because also it's like you're able to see like the weapons on the ship as well and all the different components. So we can like hide those individually. And I don't know if it's like something where we get just like a base schematic of the ship, and then you kind of have to like hook into the ship to get that extra information or whatever. So
you can see that from.
But we just have that capability in the display.
Yeah, the fact it's live
it
is really cool, and we've not really explored that too much for now. So maybe there'll be some interesting gameplay that comes out of that as well.
Something not necessarily needed for a single player game, but one of those considerations that come into play with a multiplayer. So, how does the map handle areas you don't know about?
Okay, so at the moment, the idea is it's kind of you discover things as points of data. So say when you go into the Stanton system or Pyro or whatever, you'll see the planets, the big planets, probably the moons as well, but you don't necessarily know what's on the surface of that planet. So for example, if there's a mine or a mineral deposit or something like that, you're going to have to get close to that to actually detect it, and then it's going to appear on your map. So essentially, if you don't know about it, you're not going to see it. But as you explore the universe and build up this your data bank, your map. It'll start to gradually populate, and you'll see more and more in there.
Looks like Twitch is having an issue right now, but we're going to soldier on because we're still recording. Chat's asking about hacking. Now, you talked about, you have to control the different layers and whatnot. So from an offensive standpoint, it's reasonable, it's possible, somebody could come in and start disabling layers that you would have access to, possibly through hacking.
Yeah,
it's conceivable.
If we want to do that.
Yeah, again, sounds a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the way the game's built is really cool. It's not like, we've got all these systems, but they all hook into the whole, so quite often they'll kind of interact with each other. So yeah, you might get sort of emergent, cool stuff happening from that kind of thing.
Okay. Will route finding go all the way from on foot to your destination on another planet? Like how complete a route are we looking at building here? Door to door, across star systems?
No.
No.
So you've seen on the demo, the live demo we did. The on foot routing is pretty comprehensive, so you can go anywhere within the location, just to anywhere else that you can actually get to. But we want to keep it when you're actually navigating in space. It doesn't basically say, we don't want to hold your hand too much, essentially. So the space navigation, you will have to plot the route like you do now, and so on. But there won't be this thing where, go to the space station, get in your ship, then it'll take you straight there, and then you've got to get out of the ship. That kind of thing, we feel that's a bit too far.
Not getting from my hab in Area 18 to my friend's hab in Microtech, door to door.
Yeah, and like one thing we do want to avoid as well is there's a term that some of the directors have used, which is called playing the map, where you sometimes, if it's too much of a sat nav, you don't even look at the game screen. You're just looking at this tiny little circle that shows you where to go. So we don't want that. We want to make people feel immersed in the world.
There's sort of some crazy technical challenge behind that. Anyway, if you talk about the hub thing, it was like, well, where's the first step? Does it route you to the ASOP terminal? And then does it tell you what ship to put? Because you might have 10 ships. So you might already have some ships on the landing pad. Which one is it going to pick? Is it going to pick the fastest one? Is it going to pick the safest one? I agree with you. No, I think just on a technical basis, I don't want to set off down that route. I think let the players play the game how they want and give them a hand moving around like some of our more complex environments. But it's not about like just you've seen people drive like this, right? Where they're just following the sat nav into a field or something.
Playing the map's a very real thing. I think I eventually tapped out of like the Arkham series of games because I was just constantly in the map mode. I was just running around in map mode. I was running around in Bat Vision or whatever it was. It was just like I'm not playing the game. I'm playing the UI. It was great UI, but it now superseded the game at that point. So.
Much as we like to promote UI, I think we've also made some great visuals beyond the UI. So yeah.
Well, I mean, like for instance, the new ship HUDs. Like we've taken like the effort to try to like clear up the view of like all these UI elements. Like it's like really cluttered in the PU right now. It's really messy, and so like that's kind of we want to clear it up so like you can appreciate the environments a lot more, right?
You say clear it up, so I want to ask you about customization. Customization. I think, again, since the first version of the PU went out in December of 2015, people have always asked questions about customization. Can I change colors, or can I change brightness, or can I change, or can I move this over here, over there? Talk to me about customization. We've only got a few more minutes before we switch over to Torsten and Guillermo, but I think this is what people would really like to know and have discussed is how far are we looking to take this? Are there technical limitations that will just prevent us from doing everything we want? Just talk to me in general about how important or not, maybe it's not, please don't say it's not, but how important is the ability to customize the UI?
It happens. There's two levels anyway. There's in-law customization, as in how you'd actually customize your ship. That's a bit beyond the scope of what I know about. But we also talk about accessibility as well. So the size of text, color blindness, and all things like that. So we have, as a system programmer, like we have to deal with that kind of stuff. We're building all that in anyway because we have to We have to do appropriate things for colour blindness and text sizes so you can read things and not have just such tiny text everywhere. But that really helps the game designers as well, because the game designers will talk about how we want to be able to customize our ship, or we want to be able to customize the way a shop looks, or something like it. From a systems point of view that I'm involved in, it's just about trying to make the UI as flexible as possible, so then we can do that sort of stuff. I don't know where we're at with the design for customization of particularly ships. So obviously the ships are one of the most important things. I mean, Yogi showed quite a lot of that stuff off at the show, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think at the moment
there's
a lot of the
more that we can do as well.
a lot of the customization at the moment is things like on the MFDs you can choose which MFD you're looking at, that kind of thing. For now, our main focus is like take all that information and get it good for the player, and also try and get it contextual, so you're not seeing things you don't need to see and that kind of thing. So, well, for now you can't customize everything to a great deal. It hopefully is a better player experience, and I think longer term, we've always talked about being able to have, say, if you buy a new helmet, maybe it has a different kind of style of UI. If you've got different mobiGlas, maybe you've got the pink version, for example. So I think tying things to items is probably going to be the first thing before we get to the level where we're letting players customize every single piece here and there.
Yeah, I think the customization will probably manifest itself first in like the accessibility options, like for color blindness and text size and things like that. And then anything beyond that's probably later down the line. So
About just things like brightness against white backgrounds, microtech. But
Yep.
I mean, is this
trying
an
to solve that for
Awapo?
5
Is this
years?
like this forever demon at the end of all the things UI is the UI against the white snow of microtech?
It's way more complicated than you'd expect, believe it or not. like you think, well, can we not just draw it with a drop shadow, or do we adjust the brightness? But yeah, we definitely know it's a problem, and we work on it quite a lot. And then
It kind of comes and goes. We go through waves of like it'll come up and it'll be like, nobody can read it. We've got to fix it. So we make it better, and then it's like, yeah, that'll do for now. And then 6 months later, it's like, you can't read this. Can't read it on the snow background. So yeah, we'll get it perfect one day, but I'm sure there'll be more of those like waves as we get there.
It won't be as fast as some people. Won't be as fast as I want it. Let's just be completely honest. But it's all right. I appreciate that I appreciate that you're aware of it. I appreciate that you're working on it, and I think some people will be too. All right. Last, before we let you go, Bone, are you recovered from being a meme?
Yeah, that was an unexpected turn of events. I wasn't. Of all the things that I was predicting that could or couldn't happen, that wasn't one of them. But yeah, it was all very wholesome, it seems. I appreciate the love of the community.
What was going on in your head, Emily? What happened?
He told me to do it.
I did, and this is true.
He told me to do it.
Can I say in my defence that like I asked Emily to be clear what the problem was is when demoing something like the star map, I had a tendency to just go freestyle and just start spinning things around, and like Emily was like, no, we need to actually demo specific features. So I says, well, you just tell me to do the thing, and in my defence, I couldn't hear a voice when we're on stage, right. And you hear the reflection because it was a big hall, and you hear Emily would say it, and then about half a second later I would go like this. So it made me look like a bit of a muppet, to use a Mancunian term.
I lied. Not the last question. There is one last kind of bugaboo question I want to ask about a landing UI. That's but besides the adjustments and the customization, one of the big forever questions is the return, either the return or the next iteration of some kind of downward facing landing UI to help folks out. Any joy, any love, any hope you can offer anybody here?
Yeah, so I have looked into it to some degree. It's not very progressed right now, but it is something we're thinking about and working on. So.
Yeah, so using that holosphere for useful stuff.
Watch this space.
You switch to Emily's camera. Emily, I want you to look right at that camera and say, I'm going to give you a landing UI.
I'm going to give you a landing UI.
I promise.
I promise.
All right. That was the opposite of what I said would happen at the beginning, huh? So, Thanks, guys. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with us and be here with us. Thank you for everything you did in putting together that CitizenCon presentation. I told you when we first started talking about it, it was going to be one of the most sought after and enjoyed presentations, and you guys absolutely delivered. So thank you so much. Torsten, Guillermo, are you still there? Nope. Okay. So we've lost our second guest, so we're going to take a short break and see if we can't get them back on the line. And if all things work, we'll be back with Torsten and Guillermo for a follow-up to their resource management presentation at CitizenCon. So stay tuned. All right. Is that working? Guillermo, Torsten, you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
We're having a day here. Apparently, when you don't use the studio for 6-7 weeks, everything breaks. Welcome back to Star Citizen Live, CitizenCon follow-up. Joining us for the second half of the show are Torsten and Guillermo from the EUPU gameplay and feature teams. Welcome, guys. Say hello.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Hi.
It's going to be one of those things. All right, so you guys did your presentation on the resource management system, sometimes referred to as the engineering gameplay system. How'd it go? Was it well received? Did you guys have a good time? Talk to me for a minute while I work on one more technical thing.
I think we didn't get all the time to talk about all the things we want to say for engineering, so it's good that we have this segment to clarify a lot of the questions the community is having, and so that Thorsten can really, go on and on about his designs.
Yes.
Would you agree with that, Torsten?
Well, partly, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we had to rush it a bit on stage, but yeah. So it's good that we have the opportunity to talk a bit about it.
Yeah, you were the unfortunate. You had the unfortunate placement of being directly after the Future of Star Engine presentation, which started out as a 45-minute long presentation like all the others, then grew to 55 minutes, then 65, then 75, then 85. I don't know what the actual runtime was, but if somebody can look it up on YouTube and see, but I'm pretty sure we got upwards of nearly 90 minutes before all is said and done. So I do appreciate you expediting things and getting us back on track. So we're not. So we'll go ahead and we're going to do a follow up on ISC and some about some of the talking points we didn't get to cover. But for now, let's just jump right into some of the questions from the community that we have while things are still working before we lose you again. First question from the community: will soft death ships be repairable?
So that's a good question, and it comes first with, okay, what is soft death? So soft death is a bit of an interim solution due to the fact that we cannot actually currently in the game, let you damage power plants or relays or anything like that. So that means that, the way the game works currently, if you set something to 0 HP, it will just explode. Soft death allows us to bypass that a bit so that you get, a non-functional ship that you can still loot. With the physical damage system, we expect that to change, and instead of having soft death as its own thing, have it be more along the lines of, if you lose enough parts to your ship, you will stop flying or you will stop being able to fight. And whether that's repairable, it will depend. In some cases, some components are easy to change and repair. On the other hand, power plants for some ships are so large that you would need to tow the ship all the way back to port to do any kind of repair.
And that's one of the. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Torsten.
Yeah. So to add to that, the soft death that we currently have is basically just an interim solution to the proper soft death that will then come with what Guillermo just described.
And that's going to
even
provide.
moving forward. Sorry.
Okay.
Like even moving forward with Maelstrom, it will be more complex where players will be able to shoot away certain sections of the ship. So you don't even have to repair the ship items on it, but you have to exchange entire segments of the ship itself.
And when vehicles like the SRV and stuff come on, these vehicles that are designed to tow other ships and other wrecks, one of the virtues of that is they'll be able to grab onto these soft death ships and bring them back for repair, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's in the end, people should expect, especially in the long term, a more detailed damage system. A big example that came in the questions was crash landings, that the ship still tends to explode. You know, in theory, as long as you have enough crumple space, so to speak, in the sense that you don't hit a mountain head on. With Maelstrom, you would probably expect to lose wings.
Yep. Oh. Did we lose him? It's one of those days. We had a really good 2 days at CitizenCon where stuff was like. This is my penance. This is my penance. We've lost Guillermo and Torsten right now. We're gonna attempt to get them back here. What happened? All right, we're gonna go back to the "we'll be right back" sequence, and we're gonna see if we can do this one more time. Be back in a minute, everybody. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to get Torsten and Guillermo back for this show. So we'll attempt to address those things and have them back on one of the future shows that we have before the end of the year. Right now, who wants to ask me anything? I mean, I could just end the show here. Or we could do Ask Disco. Ask Jared. We got a live chat, right? We got a live chat. What you got? What you got? What you got for me? You can let Guillermo and Torsten go since we can't bring them in, Dave. But let's see. What else we got? Anything? Anything? How are you? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's been a little hard coming down from the high of CitizenCon. CitizenCon was like, pinnacle of almost a decade of my time here, making all that happen. And so the last couple weeks afterwards have been really hard crashed. But yeah, it's to be expected. Any news on the railing? No, not from me. I don't make spaceships. What was your favorite and worst moment at CitizenCon? Give me a little bit to think about that. Jared, what are you most excited for this year? Most of what you just saw us talking about, the UI stuff. It's not hyperbole when I say that UI is the one element of game production that touches everything else. I mean, I'm sure all of you, many of you, most of you, saw what that new star map does, saw what the new internal map is, saw what the new mobiGlas was, and how they will completely, totally, and utterly, reinvent the experience of living in the persistent universe, and then had to go back to the game as it currently is and log in with the game as it is today. It's hard. It's hard. So the thing that I'm most excited about is getting that stuff in there. It's one of the reasons we launched this 5 weeks of CitizenCon follow-ups that we have with the UI stuff, because that is the stuff I'm most excited about. That you get that stuff in there, and everything else just changes after that. How many weed? What is that? Oh, it says how many weed CIG smoke in month? I didn't misread that. That was the syntax. That's what I was tripping on the syntax. Can we get another Jared exclusive Starcloth demo? No. I still owe Chrome Ninja a call. I said I would call him afterwards, and I never did. I'm such a jerk. Is that model 3D printed, and where can we get the files? This is the Rocinante from The Expanse. Big fans of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. James, the two folks who make up James Corey. Jared, where can I get that hoodie you were wearing? You have to hire in and work here several years ago. It's not even available today. What happened with the fire marshal at the after party? I don't know. I'm not the fire marshal. Jared used voice without the video. No, it's the whole machine that brings them in is down. That's why we can't even do just voice, unfortunately. When are you and Tyler going to do a show together again? Man, if it were up to me, we'd still be doing Citizens of the Stars, man. We used to, we were always on that stuff together, but, reality happens. That we improve the quality of the of the other shows. ISC, not this one. This one's a POS this week. Really got to get this working, but the other show, it takes a lot more time, a lot more effort. So we couldn't continue the show that we just kind of got goofed off on and stuff like that. But I miss him. It was one of the best parts about CitizenCon was getting to hang out and be together. Question: do we know of any ships being completely reworked? You tell me. You're asking if you know of any. Do you? Weird question. How is everyone doing mentally after the hard push of the event? I kind of talked about it at the beginning of this part. It's big highs can often lead to big lows afterwards. It's the case with me and my particular brain chemistry. Other people can just go on and stay super high. But it was a high. It was a high. It was, whatever you guys felt watching it, imagine what it must feel like making it. It was hands down one of the better experiences of my entire time here. Let's see, what else we got? Lando, which Jordans are you rocking today? Not anything fancy. These are my Jordan Stay Loyal 2s in midnight blue. These are the ones I wear when it rains. So not the classic Jordan 1s or the Jordan 3s that I like, but these are more comfortable and they're a bit more watertight. So I wear these ones. Buying things on CitizenCon increase our concierge level? I have no idea. I have virtually no involvement with the concierge or the subscriber program. For my work, it's got to be for everybody. You are all citizens. Did you cry over server meshing? I didn't, but that story CR said was absolutely true. It was he recounted the story, so I don't think I have anything to add to it. But he was, it was just one of those kind of, everybody gets together and kind of reviews what they're talking about, showing things to CR so he can plus something up or send us in a different direction. And Paul Rendell has this video. He says he goes just casually. I think I've figured out how to demonstrate server meshing, because you remember, some of you remember, you still give me crap about it. We tried to tell a server meshing story at the beginning of this year, and the problem with it is that it's not a very visual thing. So if you can't show it, it's just a bunch of people talking. And we learned that the hard way. We kind of knew it. We thought we would try anyway, and it didn't work. So it took a year. It took the better part of a year, 9 months. And Paul Rendell, super stud that he is, shows up and says, "I think I've got a way to show it." And he shows this, and we're all just kind of like just anime eyes watching this thing. Like, I can't. He did it. Yes, it works, but also we figured out how to demonstrate it visually, because the thing works on the size and scale of star systems and stuff, so it's a very hard thing to show visually. And he did it, and it was a recording. Most of CitizenCon was pre-recorded, stuff like this. And Chris's response after he teared up, he challenged Paul to do it live, which is if you want to know what it's like working for CR. Man, he showed him this amazing thing, and then he was like, "This is great. This is wonderful. If you weren't a coward, you'd do it live." And then Paul and myself and a couple IT people spent the next 3 weeks, because it was just 3 weeks before, completely rejiggering that presentation in order to figure out how to do it live and stuff. So that's probably my favorite thing about CitizenCon. Going back to that question, my favorite thing about CitizenCon is my favorite thing about working here, is that we don't chicken out. It's we don't take the easy road. If there's a way to do something that would be better, then even if it comes with more risk, and it almost always comes with more risk, we do it. That's why this is the only place that lets me do this job. It's the only company in the world that would let me do this. And I love that place. I love that. All right. I'm just going to check my chat to see if I've made anybody angry here. Nope, nobody's angry with me at the moment. So we're going to keep the questions coming. We got a few more minutes here. Do you look at questions that don't have the question prefix? No. No. Chat's too crazy. Chat's too crazy. The question prefix, the big capital letters surrounded by brackets. That's how I've trained myself over the years to try to pull these things out of chat, and I still miss half of them, or 3/4 of them completely. If we're being honest with each other. Can you tease some upcoming ISC topics soon? Well, we said it earlier in the show, and it wasn't hyperbole. CitizenCon was 71 ISCs. It's if you wonder why, if you wonder why no other game company does a weekly recurring behind the scenes docu-series in the middle of their development, it's because it's hard. It's really hard. But then to also do a big 2-day event where we basically dump an entire year's worth of ISC content in 2 days while still having to make ISC content, yeah, it's hard. But it goes back to what I said. It's not the easy thing. The easy thing would be to, take a quarter of ISC off or 2 quarters of ISC off or whatever. But we don't do the easy thing. We do what we think is the better thing. So yeah. So ISC topics for the remainder of the year are going to be a little. Some of the things are ones you can expect. We got 2 weeks of IAE coming up, so pretty standard. These 2 weeks of every year are dedicated to ship content. So the next 2 episodes of ISC that air during IAE are going to be all dedicated to the new ships and vehicles that are debuting at this year's event. Then the week after that is probably going to be a look at Pyro Playground and the what's it called? The public test channel? Is that what we're calling it? Preview channel. The preview channel. It's going to be a bit about the preview channel and what it is and how it works and why things will come to it and why things will go from it and stuff. And then a look back at the Pyro Playground. For the folks who didn't get a chance to experience it and why certain things were this way and that way, and then we got like a 17-minute section that's just dedicated to camping and griefing at the spawn habs. You have the option not to. I understand the thing lets you. But it's a choice to do and a choice not to. Every one of us are capable of making those choices. And then we could do some 322 stuff that hasn't been announced on the public roadmap yet, so I'm not ready to say what that is. And then, yeah. I mean, we got like 2 weeks after that for 322 stuff, and then we're done with the year. And then I take the thing that I dream about every 2 years, a 17-day trip to Walt Disney World, where I forget each and every one of you exists. God, it sounds so good. Disney World, not forgetting you exist. Will we see an ISC on structural salvage? Yes. Can we play as Bone in Star Citizen? No, there's only one. Will we see anything on bounty hunting or building interiors soon? Soon is a relative term. You'll see something on building interiors probably next year. Work on building interiors was the teams that were working on building interiors were pulled off and reassigned to getting the distribution centers farther along for their release as part of 4.0 and stuff like this, and showcase at CitizenCon. So the work on building interiors is sort of slowed down for a bit. Like I said too, but as the work on the distribution centers becomes more and more complete, those folks will be able to go back and resume their work on building interiors. It's like we say, the only constant in game development is change. We're going to check our chats and make sure nobody's angry at us again. I mean, I could make up another rule, but that's what I'm doing. I'm going to make up a lie and just say, hold on, I'm getting a message from my mom. But no, every once in a while, I just got to check and make sure that nobody's angry at me. When I call audibles like this. Should we get out the whiteboard? What's your favorite character in The Expanse? Amos. Let's see. Did you cry watching the Squadron 42 trailer? Not cry, because you see me in there, and whatever. I was one part of many parts of putting it together, scripting it and working out. Bone touched on it a little bit earlier in the show. We don't always show Squadron 42, but we don't always see it internally either. Everybody's got their work, and everybody's got their thing that they're working on, and everybody's got their part of things that they're focused on and stuff like this. So we don't always see this. We don't always have this opportunity to pull back and see how it all fits together. That's the stuff that CR and Rich Tyrer and those guys. That's the world that they live in. We're always just focused in these little areas. So getting to see that come together. That video started as a little 2 to 3 minute thing. Oh, we're just gonna do a little thing. And then we're just like, no, we can show this, and we got to show this, and we got to show this, and we got to talk about this, and it's like, again, the easy thing would have been to do that little 2 or 3 minute thing we originally spec'd out, but we don't do the easy thing. We do what we genuinely and historically believe is the better thing, even if it's almost always the harder thing, and that was certainly what Hold the Line was, and I think the results speak for itself. It's anybody that was at the event in whatever spare time I had, they probably heard me say, you need to make sure that you're in your seat at 4:30. Don't let any force on earth pull you out of that seat, because in that stage with that screen and that sound system and those 3,000 people in the audience, that was one heck of an experience, man. One heck of an experience. Let's see, what else we got? When are we getting Jared merch? All right, I'll sell you this for $75. You can buy some of my old cassette tapes, $5 each.
We need bobbleheads.
No, you don't need bobbleheads. That's rude. That's rude. I don't think Pete knows the story. I don't think Pete knows why my head bobbles. Everybody always like, we need a disco bobblehead. I broke my neck. That's why my head bobbles. I broke 2 vertebrae in my neck in the year 2000 and never healed well. And now if I stay too stationary for too long, the cartilage inflames, and it's just a constant forever pain because I'm too chicken to get the surgery that they keep telling me I need. So I bobble. It keeps it loose. It keeps me pain-free. But in case you ever wondered, in case you ever left a YouTube comment, hey Jared, just stop bobbling your head, man. I'd like to, but it hurts. Just check our chat, see if we're in trouble. Or not. Hey, Lenny, are you in here? Lenny never came back. Lenny, are you ready with the with the raid? we're gonna rate a star. We're gonna rate a Star Citizen stream here. I think Lenny's in charge of it. Lenny is our recently added French community manager. Lenny, send me a message on Teams if you're ready. So we'll wrap that up and get that thrown to you. Let's see. Any more trouble? Any more questions? Will there be an NPC Jared in game for in-game events? No. I appreciate the request. I appreciate that it comes from a good place, and I'm truly honored. But there has to be some part of this project where you guys can get away from me. Like, I only host this show. I'm not a good host. Look at me. Look at me right now. Look at me. Like, this is not. I'm no professional host. My job is to make this stuff from top to bottom, to write it, to produce it, to direct it, also like this. I only host it because I'm the guy in charge of hiring the host, and I just like it. It's my little release each week, but it's not actually my job. My job is the making stuff. But it's like, because I do that, like, there's got to be some place where you can escape me. There's got to be some place where you can enjoy Star Citizen without having to deal with my big giant bobbly head, and that should be in game. Let's see. We got a message from Lenny. Jake is on it. Okay, Jake is on it. All right. So yeah, that's it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sorry that we didn't get to the second half of our guests due to technical problems. We're gonna see if we can't square those things away before next week. Next week's show is scheduled to be members of the Life in the First Person and Taking Flight presentations. So the FPS and the ship gameplay stuff, Yogi and Jens and them. So we got 7 days to figure this out and get this going. So hopefully we'll be on track, and then we'll figure out when we can bring Torsten and Guillermo back and get that done. So thanks for hanging out with us. And we're going to start the raid here. You guys can start the raid. Yeah, just... I really like doing this. And I really like you. Thanks for letting us do this. I'll talk to you later, everybody.